right, folks, here we are at 5.5 Factoring Complex Trinomials. This method we will be factoring without using decomposition, so using something that I fondly call the OI method. Now, before we begin doing that, we need to look at how to factor what makes it complex. For example, what makes this trinomial complex? Well, when you look at this, any trinomial that has a number at the front next to the x squared, so the a value here, cannot be common factored out of the trinomial. That makes it complex. So there must be a number here that I cannot common factor out of here, and we use complex trinomial factoring to factor this particular trinomial. Again, there must be a number at the front. In common factoring, in any type of factoring you do, you must always attempt to do common factoring first. Then you have to ask yourself, what two numbers multiply to give you a times c, that is a times c, and add to give you b being the middle term. So a times c is the product and b is the sum. So again, this is for a complex trinomial. First thing you do is common factor. So you must common factor first. Then ask yourself what two numbers multiply to give you a times c and add to give you b. So here we go. Let's look at examples. And we've got lots of them here, folks. So let's start with the first one. What you're asked is to factor fully. So looking here, I cannot take out the 3 as a common factor. So I have to ask myself, okay, what is my product? What is my product? Now, a couple of other things to note. You have x squared. You know there's going to be an x and an x in each separate set of brackets so that when you multiply them, that gives you x squared. Now, with the product, we look at the first times the last, which is 3 times negative 8. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. And the sum is going to be the middle term, which is negative 5. So some cool things to note. My product is negative, so my two numbers, one has to be positive, one has to be negative, and the larger number will automatically be negative because my sum is negative. So that's a neat way for you to figure out, is that my product is negative, so I must have opposite signs, and my sum is negative, so what that means is that the larger number will be negative. Now, how do you figure out what those numbers are? Well, you have to understand your multiplications table and be able to find all the products of negative 24. Starting with 1 and 24. So always start with the 1 product. So 1 times the number, 1 times 24. Assign the negative to the larger number like we talked about earlier. 1 times negative 24, when I add them, does not give me negative 5. So I keep going. 2 times negative 12. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. And 2 plus negative 12 does not give us negative 5. So keep going. 3 and negative 8. 3 and negative 8 multiply to give you negative 24. And when I add these, that gives me negative 5. So this is the combination we want. We want 3 and negative 8. So what happens next? Well, this is where the factoring comes in. And remember when we expanded this back in the previous sections, we talked about FOIL. FOIL was first times the first, outer, and then the inner multiplied, and then the last multiplied. That represents FOIL. What we're focusing on here is the outer inner. That's right, the outer inner. That means my outer number must be, and my inner numbers must be these values. That is, my outer is going to be negative 8x, and my inner is going to be 3x. Does it matter which one is which? No, but you must put these in one or the other. So I could have put negative 8x here, or I could put 3x over here. It doesn't matter, but you must assign it. So notice there's a 3 here. When I multiply the inner, that'll be 3x. There's a negative 8. That would be negative 8x when I multiply the FOIL part, the O and the I, the outer and the inner. So I call this the OI factoring because you're using the outer and inner to be able to factor it. So what does that mean? Well, when I multiply it out, 3x. Okay, now the next piece, just so that you understand what our next piece is we have to break up 3x squared. 3x squared can only be broken up to 3x and x. 3x and x. Now you have to decide, is this one going to be 3x or is this going to be 3x? How do you know? Well, look at your OI. Remember that the number here has to multiply to the number here to give us this number. And again, this number here has to multiply to this number here to give us 3x. Okay? So I can only break up 3x squared into 3x and x. The only one that's divisible by 3x is this one, 3x. So we can put a 3x here, and we keep the x here. 3x times what gives you 3x? That'll be plus 1. 3x times plus 1 gives me 3x. And we have x times something to give us negative 8x. That's minus 8. So one more time, when you do the FOIL, first, 3x times x is 3x squared. Outer is negative 8x. Inner is 3x. And last is negative 8. And the outer inner add up to give you negative 5x. So you can always FOIL this answer, that is expand it, to check your answer. But that's literally how to factor. Now we do it again for another example, part B. 2x squared minus x minus 15. When we look at this, what is my product? My product is 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. And my sum is going to be negative 1. Negative 1 because the number between the negative and the x is a 1. So that's my sum, negative 1. Not negative x, but negative 1. And we have to ask ourselves, what two numbers multiply to give you negative 30 and add to give you negative 1? And we do it again. Now, when you get better at this, you don't have to write out the entire multiplication here. But when I'm first starting out, I like to show you all the different pieces. So 1 and negative 30, when I add those, that gives me not what I'm looking for. So we keep going. 2 and negative 15. Now, some of you are like, wait, miss. How did you get all those numbers? Where are you getting those numbers from? Well, let's go back here. Negative 30. Negative 30 is here. And that's my product. So I need to find all the numbers that multiply to give you negative 30. Negative 30 means that one number is positive, one number is negative, and my sum has to be negative. Therefore, my larger number will be negative. That's where I'm getting it. Now remember, where did I get that from? Product is these two multiplied, and the sum is the middle. Okay, back to this. Negative 30 is 1 times negative 30. That does not add to give us negative 1. 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. Does not give us negative 1. 3 times negative 10 does not give us negative 1. 5 times negative 6, add that. Well, yay, that gives us our negative 1. So that's our combo we want. 5 and negative 6. We're going to break up this into two sets of brackets. And my outer inner have to be assigned. So I'm going to assign that to be negative 6x and that to be 5x. Remember, you can have these swapped. The only difference will be is how your answers will turn out. So looking at this, I now have to determine what my breakup of the x squared is going to be. And that's going to be 2x and x will break up, multiply to give me 2x squared. So one of these will get 2x. One of the fronts will get 2x. One of the fronts will get x. How do we know which one? Which one of these is divisible by 2? Well, hopefully you figured it's this one. So that means 2x must go here, and that means x will go here. Now, we can find the other set of numbers by thinking about 2x times what gives us negative 6. That'll be minus 3. And x times what gives me 5x. That is plus 5. And folks, if I FOIL this out, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times minus 3 is minus 6x. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. There's my last right there. And there we go, folks. That's how you do this. I know it seems strangely easy, but strangely difficult at the same time. But with this, it really is all about practice. Practice makes perfect when it comes to factoring. All right, next one. So we've got 3 more here. Again, we look for common factors in all of these. And we can see there are no common factors in this, or in this. So none of these has a common factor that we can pull out. We will have some examples of that. But right now I'm just focusing on being able to use the OI style of factoring. OI, outer, inner. So let's look at this. So we have my outer, inner. The product is 42. And my sum is negative 13. What 2 numbers multiply to give you 42 and add to give you negative 13? So we put our outer inner arcs, and now we have to look at positive 42. Well, when they're positive, means that both signs have to be the same. What sign do they have to both be? That is negative. They will both be negative because my product is a positive. So they both have to have the same sign. So negative, okay, and we will get there eventually. So negative 1 and negative 42, negative 2 and negative 21, negative 3 and negative 14, and lo and behold, negative 6 and negative 7. That combo works. So what do we do now? Well, we put those numbers into our OI part, our outer inners. Now, does it matter which one? Remind you again? No, it doesn't. Now, what do we have to look for? We have to look for the breakups of 6x squared. 6x squared breaks up to 6x and x, 2x and 3x, and that was a little too much. Let's go slowly. 6x and x, 2x and x, 3x, and that's it. Those are the only options we have. So, which one of these are both work in the combo of my OI? Well, you can see that 3 is not divisible. 7 cannot be divided by 3 nicely. That should, and even though negative 6 can be divided by 2, 7 cannot be divided by 3. So therefore, this does not work. Our only combination is 6x and x. So I'm going to put x here for my negative 7x and my 6x here for my negative 6x. So the idea is you have to find what combos will break up the x squared, 6x and x, and 2x and 3x, and find which combo works. In our case, the 6x and x is the one that worked the best. So we want to use that one to be able to solve this. And we did that. So we broke it up to x and 6x. So x times negative 7 will give me negative 7x. And 6x times negative 1 will give me negative 6x. And there are our factors, folks. All right, let's move on. Next one, 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. Break it up. My product is going to be positive 6. My sum is going to be negative 5. Look for the combos that work. That is negative 2x and negative 3x. Those are my combos that work. And with negative 2x and 3x, we need to look at what combos that make up the 6x squared. We know it's got to be 6x and x or 2x and 3x. We know based on these numbers that 2x and 3x are going to work this time. So I'm going to break it up to 3x for this one, 2x for this one, and then 3x times -1 will give me -3x, and my inner is also going to be -1. So we have 3x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 as our factors. Hopefully this is getting a little faster for you, or maybe I'm taking too long. It is better that I'm taking too long than if I'm going too fast. Okay, moving on. 12x squared minus 5x minus 3. What do we have going on here, and how do we solve this? All right, let's do it again. My double set of brackets, my product is -36, and my sum is -5. So we look at all the combos that make up -36. Probably need a little bit of a work here. And notice all of this side work here is, again, just side work, rough work. It is not work that gets marked, but it definitely is work that you could use to be able to solve the problem that you're looking for. Keep it to the side, never within the question, and you will not go wrong. All right, my product is -36. So what numbers make up -36? So 1 and 36, negative on the larger number. So 1 and -36, 2 and -18, 3 and -12, 4 and -9. Oh, there we go, folks. We found it. That's right, 4 and -9. So we bring that back into our our outer inner. The outer is going, and inner, my inner is going to be 4x. My outer is going to be -9x. What you're going to do is multiply this out. All right, what you're going to do, but how do we do that? How do we multiply out? How do we find out what those values are? Well, we need to first break up 12x squared. 12x squared breaks up to 12x and x, 2x and 6x, 3x and 4x. Those are the combinations that make up 12. Which one of all of these values is nicely divided by both of these values? Well, you can see that this is not divisible by 12. This is not divisible by 6. But this is divisible by 3. And this one is divisible by 4. So the combo we want is 3x and 4x. Those two did not work. 3x and 4x did. So I'm putting my 3x over here because it's divisible by 9. 9x can be divided by 3x, no problem. And 4x can be divided. What are we looking at here? Sorry, here we go again. So we want the 3x and the 4x here. 4x is divisible by the 4x. 3x is divisible with the 9x, so 9x can be divided by 3x. And what do we have here, folks? Well, now we can find the rest of this. 3x times what gives us -9x? Hopefully you're thinking -3. And 4x times +1 will give me 4x. And folks, we found the factors. That's right. Hopefully you're getting a little faster than I am at this, and you are learning how to factor. The key with this, folks, is as many examples as I give, you really do need to practice with the homework. All right, let's look at a little bit extra. What happens when there's a y squared? Does that really affect us? No, folks, it doesn't. Why? Well, that's because I have an x squared in the front, okay, and a y squared in the back. And literally, folks, what you can do is put, that's right, an x in the front, an x in the front, a y in the back, and a y in the back. That's all you have to do when you have an x squared and a y squared. Wherever the x is squared, that's where you put it. We put it in the front. Wherever the y is squared, we put it in the back. And what are we trying to do is we're trying to find the product is -30 and the sum is +7. Okay, so what we have to look for is a product of -30 and a sum of 7. Hopefully you've seen, remember we had -30 before. Remember that it's 10 and -3. Will add to give us +7. 10 is the larger number. It will have the sign of the middle term. In this case, it's positive. Now, what's with the xy? The xy has to do with x being multiplied by the y. And again, x being multiplied by the y. So what we have to do is find the numbers. Remember, 2x squared can be just broken up to 2x and x. So 2x and x, we want to break that up. Where will 2x go? Hopefully you're thinking in the beginning of the second bracket. There's the 2x. We have an x here, so no problem. X times y, something y gives us negative 3xy. Hopefully you're thinking, oh, I got to put my negative 3 here. And again, 2x times y is 2xy, but I want 10xy. So the number that should be up here is plus 5. And there's my factors. Yep, that's right, folks. That's all it takes. Let's look at another example. 4x squared minus 17xy plus 4y squared. So my product is going to be 16. That's the first times the last. And my sum is going to be negative 17. So my outer inner, let's multiply. What two numbers multiply to give you 16 and add to give you negative 17? That would be negative 16xy and negative 1xy. You do not need to have the 1 there, but it does help when we're trying to find these values. We need to break up 4x squared into 4x and x, or 2x and 2x. And if you look carefully, this one here is not the problem, but this one here, oh, we got a problem here, folks. This one is definitely not divisible by 2. So we need 4x and x. 4x to go here with the 16xy, and x to go with the minus 1xy. And now we have to finish it. Finish it by putting our values. X times negative y is negative xy. And 4x times negative 4y is going to be negative 16xy. All right, let's try another one. All right. And what I'm going to ask you to do, since I've done quite a few examples now, is I want you to stop the video in about 2 seconds, okay? I want you to stop, before you stop the video, I want you to be able to factor this, okay? So you're going to do the product sum and the OI by pausing the video now. All right, folks, we're back. And hopefully you were able to factor this. So let's go over it really quickly. My product is positive 30. My sum is positive 11. I need to break up 5x squared. So I have 5xy and 6xy. Add to give you 11. Multiply give you positive 30. And then what you do is when you multiply this out, x times 6y is 6xy. Y times 5x is plus 5xy, and you end up with 11xy. And you'll notice these are your factors. Hopefully you're getting better at this and are able to factor. We've got a couple more pages of examples. I want to make sure that you have lots of examples that you can use. Let's look at this one. All right, up until now, we haven't really seen much of any common factoring. And lo and behold, this whole slide will have all common factoring. That's right. You have to common factor first. What does that mean? That means you have to pull a number out. The greatest common factor that can be pulled out of all of these numbers is 4. So 4 can be pulled out of 12 and remains 3x squared. 4 can be divided by 32 and that leaves us negative xy. And negative 12 can be divided by 4 and you get negative 3y squared. So you must divide each one of these pieces by 4 to pull the 4 out just like this. And this is the remainder. Why are we doing this? Because any type of factoring gets all kerfuffled and muddled up when you do not remove the common factoring. You must remove the common factor first. All right. Now that we pulled it out, we can now look at the inside and be able to factor this. That is, my product is going to be negative 9, and my sum is going to be negative 8. What two numbers multiply to give you negative 9 and add to give you negative 8? negative 9xy, and plus xy. Negative 9xy and plus xy. Negative 9xy plus 1xy gives me negative 8, and the product is negative 9. So now we have to find the values. Well, hopefully you can see this one should be right away, plus y. Okay, and this is the one where we have to figure this part out. Well, it's 3x squared. We know this is an x. This one must be 3x. Oop, there's a lot of work there that shouldn't be there yet. So let's look at a little bit more. Sorry about this. That's too much. Wait, we did not finish that one. So 3xy times, so this is the xy. 3x times negative 3y gives us negative 9xy. So we have xy, we have negative 9xy. That adds us to give you negative 8xy. Okay? All right. Let's try another example. Let's try 12x squared plus 10x minus 12. So no x squared, y squared, just a regular x squared. First thing you do, common factor. My common factor is going to be 2. And we have 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. 6x squared plus 5x minus 6. And what we're going to do now is be able to factor. How are we going to do that? Well, I need my product sum. Double set of brackets. Over here, let's do the product. My product is negative 36. And my sum is going to be 5. Positive 5. So product is negative 36. My sum is 5. And now we're looking at product and sum. Negative 36. What two numbers multiply give you negative 36? And assign the larger number the positive. So we have 1 and 36. And the 36 is positive. We have negative 2 and 18. And then we have negative 3 and 12. And then we have negative 4 and 9. And that's the combo that works. So what we're going to do is put in 9x. Negative 4x is my outer inner. And we now have to find the values. So my outer inner, and we need 6x squared. 6x squared breaks up to, 6x squared breaks up to, okay, just 6x and x, 3x and 2x, 3x and 2x. And those numbers are what we're looking for to be able to break it up. So x and 6x, 3x and 2x. When I figure this out, I need to look here. I have my negative 4x and I have my 9x. Which of these two combinations work? Hopefully you're seeing that it's going to be 3x and 2x. So we're going to put our 2x here. And we are going to put our 3x here because now 3x times plus 3 will give me my 9x. And 2x times negative 2 is going to give me the negative 4x. All right, let's try one more example. All right, we have our last example here. 36x squared minus 60x plus 9. Let's factor this. All right, how are we going to do that? Well, again, we must common factor first. So I'm going to pull out a 3 that can be pulled out of all of these. So 3 gives me 12x squared minus 20x plus 3. So these are my values. And then we're going to factor this. But notice I have no more room. I want you to be able to try this without the oi. That is that outer inner, the archy thing here going on here. You can still use it, but I'm trying to get you to the point where you can factor without using that. We can still write our information here on the side. Our P and our S. Our P is going to be 36. and our S is going to be negative 20. And we have to find out what two numbers multiply to give you 36 and add to give you negative 20. Hopefully you kind of look at previous work to tell us that it's going to be negative 2 and negative 18. So that's my outer inner. And what I have to break up, 12x squared, I have to break that up to 12x and x, 6x and 2x. So I'll do that at the bottom. 12x and x, 12x and x, 6x and 2x, and the last one being 3x and 4x. Those are the only combinations that work to break up 12x squared. And if you look, which one of these is divisible? Nope, this one doesn't work. Let's cross that one out. And 6x and 2x, yep, that one works because this can be divided here and 2x can be divided here. And before any of you go, but there could be another one. No, folks, this one does not work. There is only one combo that will work, guaranteed. So we go over and put this in. And we get, all right, we need the 6x and 2x. So I'm going to put the 6x, oops, let's put that in the right color. 6x right here, my 2x right here. And what I'm doing is finding my outer inner. So 6x times minus 3 will give us my negative 18. And 2x times negative 1 will give us our negative 2. And notice when I do my first is going to be 12x squared. My outer is negative 18x. My inner is negative 2x. And my last is positive 3. So guess what? We have all the pieces that we need to be able to solve this. All right. Oops. Let's try a few more examples. All right. Here we go. Oh, wow. Yep, you got it, folks. And what I'm going to ask you to do is pause this video, okay? And you will try all of these questions, okay? And then go back and then play the video again to watch the solutions pop up in front of you. Now, again, some of you are like, well, how do I do that? Folks, we've done quite a few examples. So this is kind of like a test to yourself. So try all of these examples. Don't forget about looking for that common factor. Common factor from, for example, here, 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 and even, no, not here. So here, here, and here all have common factors. Once you do that, you should be able to simplify and factor these. So, stop the video now. Well, welcome back. All right, we're looking for answers. So I'm just going to pop the answers up here. So you have to look for the product and the sum, and you have to be able to factor all of these answers, okay? Notice this last one gave us 3x plus 2y and 3x plus 2y. So my final answer is 3x plus 2y all squared, and that is because you had the answer twice. All right, folks, I think that's plenty of examples here. What's important to note is the amount of examples indicates just that you have to practice factoring. Factoring is something that takes time, and you must keep practicing at it. And if you have any worksheets on it, continue practicing it. All right, folks, well, that's the end of the lesson. Have a numerical day. Take care. Bye.